Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to RPG Horror Stories. And I will be damned if the front page of the subreddit today just didn't grab my attention. Literally, the top, 6 stories all had, amazing titles and everything, had great previews. So, let's just crack on with it before I end up fucking trying to work in Unreal Engine again and pulling my hair out. So, for our next post, we have, in the first interview of an online campaign. So I have a DMPC. Yes. He knows a lot about the setting and acts as a guide. Yes. And he is 2 levels above you, so he makes sure you won't die. Yes. And he's a trigger-happy paladin on the road to vengeance. If you act like a murder hobo, he steps in. Yes. All spells require components, even basic level 1 spells. Yeah. I'll set aside an hour per session to allow everyone to pick up components. Bear in mind, there are 7 of us. Yes. I'm also the kind of DM who won't penalize when people spend time wandering around for 2 hours. No, seriously, dude, if you're not going to penalize people for walking around for 2 hours, why are you making people gather the spell components? It is literally a useless mechanic. DM gets blamed because bandits act like intelligent human beings. Excuse me. After 1 or 2 adventures together, the party was contracted by the town guard to deal with some bandits who had been ambushing travelers to and from the boony. Walking around the road, they run into a camp of ne'er-do-wells. Rough-looking guys, the GM says. Set up tents along the side of the road. As the party approaches, the ruffians laugh at what was apparently a dirty joke. The party's face hails the men, who get quiet all of a sudden. After some small talk, the face tells them that he and his fellows are looking for the bandits troubling the road. One of the toughs, a gruff man with only one good eye, says, "You don't say!" Tension hangs in the air. "Yes," says the face. "Would you happen to know anything about that?" "What are you implying?" "Well," the face says, "if you've been camped out here for a while, you've probably seen something, or maybe heard from some people who were attacked." The DM isn't sure where this is going. Face is being very friendly, and none of the players seem to be expecting a fight. The DM asks for a perception check. Everyone passes, and the DM tells them that these men look like real tough customers. Most of them have scars, all of whom are wearing patchy leather armor, and all of these men are armed to the teeth with lorn but lethal-looking weapons, whom they all have their hands on. Most have recent cuts and superficial wounds, and all of them are keeping their eyes on the party. Face smiles, understanding what the DM is getting at, or so he thinks. In fact, from the look of it, you seem to have had some trouble recently, maybe a scuffle with these same bandits. One Eye stares, saying nothing, but looking a little confused. "Since you're not dead, you obviously managed to drive them off, yes? Did you happen to see which way they fled?" Another party member cuts in. "You can help us find their hideout. We'll gladly give you a share of the reward." One Eye tells the party to hold on for a second, then confers with his friend out of the party's earshot. After a minute or so, One Eye comes back. "Yeah, we tussled with them," he says. "In fact, we know exactly where they hold up. They're too tough for us. But you lot look like you wouldn't have much trouble. Come on, we'll show ya." A quick hike takes the party and their new comrades into the woods, to a cave on a hillside. A short distance inside the cave, they come to a rope bridge stretched across a chasm. One Eye tells the party to go first. There's trouble on the opposite side. The party does so. "Are the bandits close?" the face asks. "Very close. In fact, they're right behind you."
NANI?!
And then the bandits cut the ropes, collapsing the bridge and sending the party tumbling into the chasm, all while One Eye and his crew laugh. The players immediately call shenanigans on the DM. What the hell, the face says? Why are they betraying us for the bandits? Those were the bandits, the DM says. Bullshit! If they were bandits, they would have attacked us on sight. You're just making shit up to punish us. Why would they have attacked you? Asked the DM. They're bandits. It's what they do. They attack unarmed women and children on roads and take their stuff.
Oh, this is so frustrating. You see, this is what I don't get about you bad guys. You know the hero's gonna win, but you just don't die quickly. Man, example, this one guy in New Haven, right? City's burning, people are dying left and right, yada yada yada. This jackal rushes me with a spoon. A freaking spoon, and I'm dying laughing, right? So I scoop out his stupid little eyeballs with it, and his kids are all, wah! And I can't even, he can't see where he's going, he's bumping into stuff, and anyway, I don't know, maybe you had to be there. The moral is, you're a total bitch.
Another player cuts in. Yeah, it's a dick move, man. It feels like you just decided they were bandits on a whim. Everybody is glaring at the DM. Look, bandits are predators, the DM says. They don't attack the strongest prey, but the weakest. The people who travel this road are small peddlers and farmers, your mercenaries with weapons, armors, and magic. They're not gonna pick a fight with you if they can avoid it. Fuck off, you're just a shit DM. How are we supposed to fight them if they won't attack first? You could have attacked first, the DM says. You are working for the town guard, and they were obviously all the more reason they would attack us! A player cuts it. The DM looks around in disbelief. He seems to be the only one at the table who finds it plausible for professional criminals to assess the risks and exercise discretion. The DM quickly moves on with the party landing at the bottom of the pit, forgetting about the fall damage to mollify them, which segues into a dungeon crawl to get back to the surface. In the end, the players consider it a satisfying session, but to this day, they consider this incident to be a huge gaffe on the DM's part. They cannot comprehend that a bandit would be anything other than an automaton whose adventure and flies into a homicidal rage to shake down a heavily armored party for a few coins to buy dinner. Heaven forbid that the NPCs are at least as intelligent as the players. TLDR, party fails to recognize obvious bandits because they don't attack immediately, get led into a trap and blame the DM for making the bandits behave like they actually fucking think.
No, I can't. I like this. Not when I'm so close. And not at the hands of a filthy bandit!
Yeah, no, I'm with the DM side on this. I tend to try to give players a little bit more of a benefit of a doubt in this sort of situation, but this is just very, very clearly that these are fucking bandits. He even, like, described them all having, like, fresh scars, being heavily armed to the fucking teeth with heavily used weaponry. With fucking, like, fresh scars and everything. I think this is a really fucking cool encounter. I am going to... listen, OP, I know that your party hates this. I'm stealing this encounter because this is just really, really fucking well written, and it would work amazingly as a random encounter. Next post. The DM doesn't like the rules and refuses to abide by them. So me and my two friends, A and H, have been playing D&D for about 8 years now together, and for most of it I usually DM. Over time, I've become pretty good at it, and H has been wanting to DM, so he started a campaign. But me and A both agree that H has a serious problem. H doesn't really care for the rules when he DMs. He's ran a few campaigns that all ended early due to him breaking our characters with powerful items right off the bat. The card game has only gone for about 10 sessions. It's been mostly good, with a few instances, but our last session that we played had me almost fuming. H does not usually play casters, and he's never really bothered to learn, so anytime we face a caster or find a homebrewed magic item, it makes zero sense. The party consists of me, a sorcerer, A is a human werewolf fighter, and H plays a character too, which isn't unusual for our DM to play a character because small group, and he plays a pugilist. Long story short, our party is fighting cultists of some forgotten death god. Their leader is floating 10 feet off the ground, surrounded by what our DM called an anti-magic field. We're all level 6, by the way. We all couldn't hit them with melee attacks either. Then the cult leader starts casting through the anti-magic field. He casts magic missile, firing 6 missiles. I attempt to counterspell, but H simply says I can't because reasons. I get hit for 6 damage, while A gets hit for 15. We were all hit by 2 missiles each. I have magic missiles, and I point out that they only do 1d4 plus 1 damage each, and he said, I don't have to follow the rules, I'm the DM. I responded with, but I guess we do, right? And of course he said yes. In the same fight, he gave himself multiple standard actions by disengaging, standing, and hiding and attacking all on the same turn. I asked how he could do all that, and he made an excuse that because he has multi-attack, he can take different standard actions instead. All the while, me and A are just getting frustrated with his constant rule breaking. We try to question him on it, but he just gets mad and will not go on about how we think it's stupid. But he won't learn how magic works. And he also gets mad that we use spells that I have to then complain are too powerful. Yet, he breaks the rules for casting to make enemies more powerful. He only does this when he DMs. It's to the point where I'm always going to be DM because H acts like this and A knows he isn't good at it and doesn't want to. This reeks of power tripping against your players. When you are a DM, you have to know how to be able to be a caster. You have to know how to use martial characters. You don't necessarily have to know how to build them, optimize everything. But you also need to know the rules, at least some of them. If somebody corrects you, you just hand wave and just be like, okay, we messed it up this one time, but in the future, I'll go ahead and I'll use this ruling. Make a note of it. Write it down so that you know that you were wrong. Player ever step back and realize, hey, I'm DMing bad and other player aren't having fun? No, he's just like, there's an anti-magic field and this is gonna be a cutscene where I beat the fuck out of you. Bad DM. Bad DM. And now we have the skeletal baby. Let's just jump right on into it. Our rogue is usually a very outspoken and chaotic individual, and he is attempting to seduce a gnome shopkeeper that is very out of his league. They got together for a romantic date at the shopkeep's room in the royal castle. Oh man, oh baby! I didn't think that the rogue would succeed. Good on you, bud. Gotta put that cunning to use. And by casting some spells, invisibility, and pass without trace, 3 other party members were in that room. Oh, come on, you fucking creeps. Why you gotta fucking watch? Now, the rogue, being so shy, has to take help from the party to try and seal the deal. A nudge here, that a drop chest piece there, and somehow, after much trying, the party gets them both in bed. Hell, this is where it gets weird. The DM was going to fade to black, but 2 of the players start to describe how they helped the rogue further. How they pushed the rogue's leg and one even tried to ask the DM to roll sleight of hand to put their finger in the rogue's ass. What the fuck did I just... Oh, what the fuck? The players doing this were a deep gnome and a homebrew skeletal race. This is going to be very important. The DM tried to fade it black again, but before they are able to, the deep gnome asked to try and impregnate the rogue's newfound companion. And without the DM asking, rolls a dice, which was a natural 20. But instead of saying no and moving on, the DM told the gnome that they had accidentally gotten impregnated by the skeleton, and now had a baby inside of them. It gets worse. The deep gnome, as a wizard, tries to abort the baby right then and there, which the DM proclaims to work until the baby comes out as a skeleton, because who knows what ungodly abomination it was and what the fuck was going on. They shove the skeleton baby in their bag of holding and sneak out the shopkeep's room before being noticed. I do not know what to make of this situation, and wonder if I should even show up for the next session at all. Here's what I am going to make of this for you, OP. Okay? I want you to listen closely. Listen closely. Look around, you find out. The DM was very clearly trying to fade to black, and these players were trying to fuck around and find out. They fucked around, they found out, and they didn't like it. Alright everybody, I still have a little bit of time after those RPG horror stories, so here's a free green text post. DM warns me as I'm making a character that the party I'm joining is about to go into a really tough fight and has a good chance that a large amount of players and NPCs are going to die. Been playing with this dude for years now. You know, by now he's horribly averse to killing PCs and he won't do shit. Decides to act like a fucking Moss. I was right. Listen here, you dense motherfucker. I have been DMing for about 10 years, and I've learned that it's sometimes better to just fucking kill somebody if they do something stupid. For example, DMing for a group in my local game shop. Had a guy join my group. Guy was playing Vanilla, the human fighter. They got stopped by the local guards. They were searching for an illegal drug, we will just call it crack. Coincidentally, the rogue had a pound of crack that he was planning on distributing. I asked the party what they wanted to do. I was fully intent on them ditching the drugs or bribing the guards, or even deceiving them. What actually happens was just straight up stupid. The fighter shouted, "I eat the crack in order to get rid of it!" Taken aback, I had him confirm what he asked. Both the rogue and I explained to him that it was a pound of fucking crack. This brave bastard still insisted on doing it. I asked for 2 rolls. A sleight of hand check to see if he could do it without the guards noticing, and a con save to see how his body reacts. He rolls a respectable 23 on the first one, and a 3 on the second. I then explained to the party how out of nowhere, the fighter suddenly and without warning collapses onto the fucking ground. His heart exploded, because he ate a fucking pound of crack. The table erupted in laughter. Luckily for the fighter, we had a cleric who could cast Revivify. He's still a fucking dumbass, though. Alright, thank you everybody for watching. Much love and stay sexy. Bye-bye!